Everybody, Bruce Jones here, and welcome. Let me get the name of our group up today. The show. This is The Power of the Published with Everett O'Keefe. I'm Bruce Jones from How to Publish Your Book Facebook group. And there are many ways to publish a book, and we support all of them here in the group. Books are a key component of building your business and your market and your position in your market. And today we are talking with Everett O'Keefe of Ignite Press. My friend Everett, and just in full disclosure, we're part of several mastermind groups, and we've known each other for a long time, and Everett's just a cool guy. So Everett is the international #1 best-selling author. He's authored 6 Amazon #1 best-selling books. The Power of the Published is his most recent work. Everett, hold your book up. Hold your book up. There it is. Yep. And he's also helped create and launch more than 50 best-selling authors for his clients, which is what we're going to be talking about. He speaks across the nation about the power of the publish. He's the founder of Ignite Press, a hybrid publishing company. We'll be learning about that. Specializes in helping entrepreneurs as well as businesses, medical professionals ignite their business and become best-selling authors. Everett also founded the Book Publishers Network in 2019, the group of publishers, publishing, consulting, book coaches, and book professionals. So, hi, Everett.
Hey there, Bruce. Thanks for having me on. I'm super, really appreciate this.
Yeah. No, this is fun. So Everett has worked with a lot of different authors, doing a lot of different stuff. And I just thought it'd be a great opportunity today to kind of dig a little bit more into what he does and the authors he works with and how he does his thing. So, in your latest book, and I have a copy here too, and The Power of the Published, the subtitle of this book right here, the subtitle is How Rapidly Authoring a Book Can Ignite Your Business and Your Life. So what does that mean? And what do you mean by the power of the published?
Thanks, Bruce. I tell you, the power of the published as an idea came to me because as we have helped more and more people become best-selling authors, we've had the opportunity to witness the power that these books have had in the lives of these business professionals, medical professionals, speakers, etc. And it came to me that there is incredible power in a book, and I should probably write a book to let people see some of that power. In the book, which of course is available on Amazon, we kind of lay out many different ways that books are powerful. They are integral, in fact, in the advancement for some businesses. We sit there and, the most obvious thing that comes up to mind, right, is those people who are speakers or want to be speakers, that the book is this incredible positioning tool, right? It's this tool that lends authority, it lends expert status. And it's funny, there's this quick story. I had a friend of mine who just prior to pit bulls becoming a real hot topic in the news, quite a while ago, had written a little quick book about pit bulls, put it online as a lead magnet, as a way to just sell people different products about dogs. And shortly thereafter, got a call from a news reporter because there had been a dog bite, like a couple counties away. And the reporter wanted to talk to this guy, to David Fry, who had written this book. And they said, hey, you're an expert on pit bulls. We want to interview you. And David Fry goes, well, not really. I just wrote this quick little book in order to sell my dog stuff online. I don't really, but let me put you in touch with this veterinarian I know. He's a real expert. The reporter said, no, you don't understand. You wrote the book about pit bulls. We want to interview you. And so that is one of many examples as how books can immediately position people as experts, even if they really don't feel like they are experts.
Right.
So that whole authority thing is incredibly powerful. Books destroy competition because no one you're competing with is also an author, right? If you're a financial advisor, insurance professional, right. There's lots of competition, but none of them are authors. And that's true across all the medical fields too. There's so many different ways, Bruce.
You notice it a lot on any of the news shows, any of the cable news shows, or any of them. Anybody that they're introducing, if they have a book, they give it a very prominent position, right? It's part of their short bio. Their bio may be 2 sentences long, but the book is part of that bio and a big picture of it. So
that's right. Author of or best-selling author of, that will always be in the bio. The degree from Harvard or Yale might not be. And interestingly enough, the book will be.
It's their job and the book. Those are like the two things: the job and their book, and and their name, and that's it. So
yeah, it's pretty incredible to watch that. So we've watched books make people instant experts, and when I say instant, I put that in air quotes because many people are experts and don't get that recognition right until they publish a book.
Right.
And we see it gain access to higher level clients, to clientele people might not ever have access to. The speaking opportunities, there's some pretty crazy stories in the book. I definitely encourage you to get it. Not for a royalty, but because I think you'll be entertained and inspired by some of the things you'll see in the story in the book.
Well, it's one of the things that you teach and you teach about and you also used is the power of every chapter has a story in it. That's a way of writing a book, is to bring the stories that you use in your life into your book and use it to illustrate the point and then go on to the point.
Yeah, and Bruce, ironically, when I sat down to write the book, it was just going to be this diatribe of things, and then I started to think of these stories, and then the book kind of wrote itself from that point, because stories engage you as a writer and certainly engage the reader. Many of the people in the sales and marketing realm that are watching will remember that facts. I always get this tongue twisting. Facts tell and stories sell. And stories are something you want to include in your book wherever you can.
Right. So you mentioned in the subtitle, rapidly authoring. So how long does it take to write a book, and what do you mean by rapidly authoring? How can you get a book out if you realize, oh, I think I need a book to help, especially in these times when things are sort of tough. Having that book getting out rapidly could be a real advantage to you to set you apart. So talk a little bit about what's that process like.
Yeah, this is super key, because people have in their mind that in order to write a book, they need to go and live in a cabin at Walden Pond for 6 months or a year and shut out the outside world and do nothing except write their book. That really couldn't be further from the truth. Now, that is a way to write a book. And if people are looking for an excuse to spend 6 months or a year sequestered in a cabin, by a lake somewhere, I wholeheartedly support that.
I live within biking distance of Walden Pond. So,
oh, you're kidding me?
No, I live really close to there. So I used to bike up there all the time. So I know where it is, and you don't want to live next to Walden Pond because it's kind of, it just isn't friendly.
work for Emerson, if I remember correctly, though. Right?
Work for Emerson. Yeah.
But realistically, there are many ways to create a book rapidly, and the people I work with understand that the value of bringing something to market quickly. Going through traditional publishing means you might not see a book. Let's say you spend a year writing it, you might not see that book come to life for another 18 months to 2 years after that, if ever. And so you're talking about a 3-year process potentially if you're going traditional publishing and writing a book in the slow way. But there are other ways. One way is to gather up material you already have. Many people have been blogging, and those blog posts will be the perfect length for short chapters of a book. If you can gather them by theme or content topic, they are a great way to create a book. Another one is to repurpose audio or video you may have. You may have training videos or audios or speeches you have presented before that a transcript of which could become the backbone of a book. And then one of my favorite ways is to write a book around the frequently asked questions of your industry. And so just think of your industry for a moment and think about those questions that people ask you all the time. How do you do this? Why should I do this? How does this work? What does this term mean? All of those are questions that are asked continuously within your business. Those are also things that you could vamp on for 3 to 10 minutes on each one without any research, without even thinking about it. And so if I were to ask you that question, you do it. Bruce, you are a hero because you created a Facebook group around how to publish a book and around the content of those frequently asked questions. Right. And these are a great foundation for a book for anyone in any industry, whether you're a medical professional, business professional, speaker, Just think of all of those things. You can write down those frequently asked questions probably in under 10 minutes, probably in under 5.
I also find that is how people perceive you. People perceive you as an expert in something, and you may not see yourself as the expert in something, but by those questions, especially if you sort of carry a little notebook with you or just a memo or put it on your phone, you start writing them, you'll discover how people view you and where your expertise is. And if you can play on that and link to that, it's much more powerful. You may think you're the expert on making bread, but everybody asks you about how do you make hot cross buns or something else, and you go,
how you painted your house, right? Your home improvement. Yeah.
Well, maybe I'm really a painting guy and not a baker or whatever it is. If you pay attention to those questions, you can really match yourself to the market and how they kind of see you. So
and Bruce, how about those other ones? The people who they know they need a book, they know a book would be powerful for their business, would position them as an expert, help eliminate competition, help to make them recession proof, for crying out loud. Like, that's an important thing. Help them take advantage coming out of economic downturn and being able to compete for limited resources. Those are pretty huge, timely things right now.
Right.
But think about all those people who don't. They're like, well, who am I to hold myself out as an expert? I know some things about this, but these other people know so much more than I do. I wrote about it in the book, and I tell people this often, is that there are people out there in the world for whom you specifically are uniquely qualified to educate them and train them. Right. That something about the way you speak or your background or the channels through which you can communicate to people and educate people in a way that no one else on the planet can. Wow, that sounds pretty unique and powerful. And for those people who say, who am I to hold myself up as an expert? I like to say, who are you to withhold that information and that opportunity from those people who are ready to learn from you?
And people are asking you the questions anyways, so you just need to put it into a structure that you deliver it back to people in a much easier way and use it for your business and use it for positioning. Talk a little bit about, so somebody has sort of gone through the exercise, and I'm often advising people to do this, is to write these frequently asked questions down as a way to kind of figure out where your expertise lies. How do you then, as Everett O'Keefe and Ignite Press, take that? How do you then massage that into a book? Just walk me a little bit through that process of how you step in as the consultant and put all that together.
Sure. Well, first, Bruce, we take people in multiple different spots in the process. Some people to come to us with a manuscript that's already written, and we'll be looking at the publishing and a bestseller launch with that book. Other people come and they're like, I know I need a book. I don't know what it's going to be. I just know I really need one for my business. Can you help me? And we'll start with them there, which is thinking about their target market, the outcome. One question I love for people to answer is this, and I would just recommend everyone do this. And the question is this: when people are finished reading my book, what do I want them to do next? What do I want people to do? And some people will say, well, I want them to implement the strategies. Others hopefully will be a little bit more direct and go, well, I want them to pick up the phone and call me, or I want them to go to a website and opt in, or I want them to do the first step on the list. But I think that's a really important question in that formulation. But to get back to your original question, Bruce. So for us, what we'll do is we'll work with people through that manuscript process, and we can help them construct a direction of what that book is going to accomplish for them, how they're going to use that book within their business or profession, what outcome they expect to have from that book, and then help them kind of fill in the blanks in order to create that book. If it's an FAQ style book or a blog style book or an interview book where we just interview it out of people, and we will either...
which is a great way to do a book. If you really just don't know where to go with it, you just sort of, here's a series of questions, and you sit there and interview them, record it, transcribe it, and then massage it from that point on into the book. But they didn't have to sit and go, on day one I did this, on day two I did that. It just sort of flows from a conversation.
That's right. And so, Bruce, in fact, think about this. How many people watching this would write a book if they knew that they could get all the content together in, let's say, one workday?
Right.
Okay. How many people would do that rather than, oh, I've got to do months and months and months? Now, that isn't to say there won't be more work. There's going to be reviewing the transcript or the writing. It may be the proof coming back from the editor or layout, all of those things. But anyway, so we'll take the manuscript, Bruce. We will take it through into line and copy editing, which, as you know, is primarily emphasis on grammar, punctuation, word choice. Developmental editing would typically be something that would happen before that, and getting a little bit into the weeds, but developmental editors, as you know, can be incredibly expensive and slow your project down by many months. So for that reason, we encourage people to develop an editorial board. In fact, Bruce, you were kind enough to participate on the editorial board for The Power of the Published. And just having people read through it, give their feedback, point out your blind spots, the things you're doing well and doing poorly, and so you can address those. And we'll take the book really through all the rest of the steps. We'll do interior design, we'll do cover layout, cover development, publish it on Amazon, publish it through Ingram. So it's available in paperback, Kindle, hardcover, Nook, Kobo.
Which is really, really important, because you don't know, everybody has a different way they get their books. They may listen to them in audio. They may listen to them. They may watch them on their e-reader or their phone. They may actually want a printed, physical copy of it. You want to be able to cover all those sites and sort of launch out at the same time with all of that stuff. And so it's really important to hit all those different mediums. Hit everything that you can, so that your book is literally available on more than 1,000 different outlets online, and is available should libraries or bookstores want to order your book in. And then, as I know that a lot of your watchers will understand in your Facebook group, maybe less so in some other areas, is the value of print on demand publishing. That's the incredible part. In fact, let me grab this. So, traditionally, Bruce, you understand this intimately. If someone were to self-publish a book, and I visit their house 10 years from now, I would find in their garage cases of their book, because they had to buy so many copies just to get the unit cost down. So that is no longer the case because of print-on-demand publishing. So my book here is 160 pages, and someone can publish their book and be able to buy one copy for their own use, or to sell through their website, or to sell at the back of the room, or to package up with speaking deals, or give to their clients, and do that for maybe under $3 a book at quantities of one. And then if they're speaking and they just want a couple cases of books to meet them at their speaking destination, rather than them stuff them in a suitcase, a few clicks and off they go. I said, this is the eighth wonder of the world for us people involved in publishing, right? It totally changed. It totally is a game changer for all of us who publish books, is the power of the print on demand. There's no inventory, there's no warehouse, there's no shipping. It just sort of happens when somebody orders them. If you want one, or you want 200 to go to a speaking engagement, you're a speaker, it's there, and you can, there's many different ways, but it's just such a powerful tool to keep your costs to basically zero. Your costs really are your marketing, your writing, and your marketing, but
you don't have to maintain any overhead. That's exactly right. And now print on demand also, is available on hardcover. And like this one here has just got this nice dust jacket to it. I can't find the camera. But no, I just think it's incredible to me to do that. Obviously, hardcover is a lot more expensive than the paperback. But
talk a little bit about, and I know that one of the things that what you just said was, I always say to people, you don't want to have a garage full of books. That's your goal. No garage full of books. Like I anchor that, repeat that over and over again.
But I always keep a case of books.
That's right. So that you can one of the things I always talked about, and from the graphic design point of view, is you don't want the things you make to be precious, because you want to feel to give them away. People say, well, how many should I print? If I print 10, they become precious to you, and you won't, it's like, oh, I don't know if I should give that away. You want enough that you can feel free, because this is your new business card. This is your calling card. This is your brochure. And you want that freedom to just say, no, here you go. And people, as we've learned, people don't throw books away. This is this incredibly powerful marketing tool that you can just give to people. And they're like, oh, I mean, I have ones from years ago. They're still sitting there. I won't throw them away.
Now you're going to make me go to a chapter in my book, because you just made me think of something. So one of the things I had put in my book is that it's called the mythical silver bullet. Okay. Everyone in marketing is looking for a silver bullet. And the truth is, a silver bullet doesn't exist in marketing, because that which is a silver bullet from one market is completely ineffective for another market. Or it's a silver bullet today and it's completely useless tomorrow, that type of thing. So the silver bullet, I actually wrote this down, is I think a book is the closest thing to a silver bullet in marketing, because of all the many things it does. And I'm going to read, it says from page 72, and I'm just going to go partially down this list, because the list goes on and on and on. But think of the ways a book can help you. It can provide instant authority by establishing you as an expert in your field, help you qualify for speaking and media opportunities. We haven't talked about media opportunities. Provide long-deserved recognition for your work in your industry, place you among an elite group of people who have authored a book, eliminate competition, provide the ultimate stick method, which is getting customers to stay customers. Yep. There's nothing like a book for that, by the way. Eliminate competition. I said that. And one of these is become a durable marketing tool that can continually reinforce your credentials and experience. Not only do people not throw these away, but think about what happens when they finally get to the point where they decide, okay, I'm cleaning my bookcase out. What do they do with it? They don't even throw it away then. They give it to a bookstore or a library.
Right.
What other marketing thing can you create that people will hang on to for years and years and years, and then when they finally bring themselves to part with it, it goes someplace else where it could potentially, as much as I love these things we created for our mastermind group, okay, as much as I love these, this costs as much as the book or more. And the book is book does a whole lot more than this silly branding thing will.
Right. So one of the things you talked about was how quickly a book can be produced. And I know that one of the things I've sensed about making books is the book that took you, the books that you created quickly become the most effective. The book that took a long time becomes the least, because there's you sense a wave going on either in yourself or the market or something. There's a need for this book. And you want to be able to get that book out quickly. You don't want to sit there for 3 years waiting it, because the wave will have gone on by. So just talk a little bit about, you laid out a lot of different steps, but they actually can be done fairly quickly. Just talk a little bit about time frames so that you can catch your own wave for your own stuff. How that works.
So I would take people back to my first book, which was called The Video Tractor Beam. It was on video marketing. That book, I was driving home and I called my business partner. I said, hey, I was driving home from a conference. And I said, hey, tomorrow, let's meet in the conference room and let's write a book. And he goes, really? Okay, great. What's the book going to be about? I said, I don't know. We'll figure that out tomorrow. We met in the conference room. And I'm going to tell you, I wrote it. This was a cruddy book on the one hand and a perfect book on the other. We sat down, we created the frequently asked questions about video marketing, because we felt that was something that we could riff on, that we could complete quickly. We recorded it in a few hours time. We just recorded it to a phone.
He asked the questions and you answered, and you just kind of
and then we got it transcribed. Then we started editing. We actually went from idea to Amazon #1 bestseller in 30 days. Now, I don't recommend this for anybody, but I want to tell you that we did it. Now, for us, it was a proof of concept. We wanted to make sure we could do it, and also to prove the launch strategy. But we created a book, and I look back at that book now and I go, gosh, I would have changed this, I would have changed that, and all of that. But we got it out. It brought us many opportunities. In fact, it brought us our first 5-figure deals. It really got us additional exposure, gave us credibility in a way that nothing we had ever done before that would. But realistically, here's what I would like to see is when we work with clients, if someone brings us a manuscript that's written, a comfortable pace for us is between 60 to 90 days to go through editing, layout, cover creation, publishing, and launch. 60 to 90 days. In urgent circumstances, things can be compressed, right? But I think it's really important for people to understand they could have a book in place working for their business next quarter.
Right.
Not next year, but next quarter. And without having to disrupt their lives to make that happen. So that gives you some idea of timeline.
So you mentioned that you took that book to an Amazon bestseller. You have done this for many, many, many of your clients. So talk a little bit about, what that does and how powerful that is, especially because if you could get your book done in a quarter or a little bit more, if you knew you were going to be speaking at a conference or an event coming up at the end of the year, you could create this book, have it launched, have it a bestseller, and be ready for that conference to go out and go, hey, look what, oh, that's who you are. Like add a level of authority on top of your authority already. So talk a little bit you've done this for many, many clients. Just talk a little bit about how you do that.
Yes. And it's funny you mentioned being targeting a conference. I had a client who called us up and said, hey, I've got this book written. I need to get it launched and published and launched before I go to Dubai for this international medical marketing conference. And I don't know, it was probably 60 days out, something along those lines. And she wasn't speaking there. She was just going there as an attendee, but she wanted to pick up customers. So we did the book. We did an Amazon bestseller launch. She became a #1 best-selling author in multiple categories on Amazon for a short period of time, which I'll talk about. She showed up with I think 10 copies of her book. She handed them out on the first day. Later that evening, she was walking around the conference hotel and she happened to see somebody sitting there reading her book. Okay, which totally caught her off guard. She's like, okay, this is really cool. She didn't say anything to him. The next day, though, 2 or 3 of the people she had given books to came to her and said, hey, last night I read your book and I want to talk. She came out of that conference where she went as a relative nobody, just an attendee. She came out of that conference with appointments set that ended up being 2 or 3 major contracts for her. Out of that same conference and the book being brought there, she was invited to contribute to a textbook on her topic, which you don't want to skip the importance of that. That places her with all the academic all-stars in her industry, right? And then she was invited to come speak at that conference the following year as a sponsored speaker. So that book carried her from relative anonymity to really speaking on the world stage for, in her industry. So as to the Amazon bestseller, our goal on this is to overwhelm Amazon for a short period of time in 1 or more categories. If we do that properly, then during launch day, typically, or in the days thereafter, we'll see sales spike. And part of it is a lot of book sales happen like this. There'll be a launch and there'll be a sales hump. Okay. Like today people talking about flattening the curve and stuff. Well, on Amazon, we want to do exactly the opposite. We want to do this. We want to overwhelm Amazon with those sales so that our client for a day, a week, a month, whatever, is the #1 book in 1 or more categories on Amazon. And the great thing is we don't have to call them bestsellers. We don't declare them to be bestsellers. Amazon does by featuring them as the #1 bestseller in those categories.
Very cool. Very, very cool. So how does somebody, if people want to discuss a book project with you, what's the best way to proceed? How do they do that?
Yeah, excellent. So first, I think it's important to know that not everyone is our client, and we are not the right provider for everybody. For instance, we certainly specialize in nonfiction, in books that people, and with people that are interested, not so much in making royalties with their book, but having a book there for authority, for all the different ways it can be leveraged within a business, which I talk about.
I think that's a great distinction, especially for the kind of clients that you have. It isn't about selling massive amounts of books. It's about putting massive amount of authority on you.
Yeah, that's
the switch. It's the person, it's the author. It's nice if they sell a lot of books, but their massiveness is going to come from what it does to them in their market, in their business, for them personally. That's where it's going to really hang on. So
right. It's the deal is you can work really hard to sell a lot of books and make a few $1,000s. Or you can have a book and use it in your core industry and probably make many multiples of that without really selling many books beyond launch. So our clients understand that the money is to be made not in the book, but with how they leverage the book within their business. And so royalties are unimportant. And for a client who really wants to create the book to sell a lot of copies in order to get a lot of royalties, we're just not a fit. We're just not a fit for that. So our clients understand that. And, and as a result of the way we do things and stuff, there is a substantial investment, to make these things happen.
Right.
And there are those people, by the way, who want to do it on their own and self-publish. I wholeheartedly support that. That's how I started. Right. And I learned my lessons the hard way along the way. And now that we've got about 60 books under our belt, I don't have to learn quite so many lessons the hard way. But I wholeheartedly support that. As far as reaching us, actually just go to our website, which is ignitepress.us.
Okay. We'll put all those links are going to be down in the description too. But yeah, no, ignitepress.us.
Ignitepress.us. You can actually on our website reserve a time on my calendar so that we can have a book consultation, and we can talk for 15 or 20 minutes just about your book and your goals for it, and then determine if we need to go further down that road.
Good. Cool. We have been talking with Everett O'Keefe, the founder of Ignite Press, on publishing and becoming an authority and all those kinds of things. And you also have a special project that you've been working on. Did you want to talk a little bit about that in today's show? You can.
Yeah, so we have a new book project coming up that actually came out of our mastermind group. I run a mastermind group of publishers and people in the industry. Bruce, you being one of the most important members of that group.
We dig deep and
oh my gosh,
and all kinds of efforts.
And we also last year I founded the Book Publishers Network, of which Bruce is also part of. But we have come up with a project. We have determined not only how to become a #1 Amazon best-selling author, but also how to become a Wall Street Journal or USA Today best-selling author. And we know that we have some clients that are interested in that. That is certainly much harder to hit than the Amazon bestseller, but it is within reach for the proper individuals and the proper content. And for that reason, we actually have put together a project that is an anthology project, for lack of a better word, that is really designed about authority and about the authority that comes from authorship. And as a result, we are soliciting contributors to that book. There is a substantial investment. In fact, you should expect an investment in the high 4 figures to be part of that project. But for those people who are interested in becoming a Wall Street Journal bestselling author or a USA Today bestselling author, they can actually reach me through my website, and we can schedule a consultation for that too. That book will probably be coming out in August. We are soliciting contributions to that right now. And in fact, we'll be finalizing the author list probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And I have a couple spots open that I can fill. So if you're interested, reach out right away. Let's just say it that way, right away.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Everett. And this has been fun to learn a little bit more about Ignite Press and about what you do and how anybody who's a speaker, an author, in the financial, the medical, basically any professional field can use Ignite Press and you to build their authority and to create a book. And we have watched you do many of them, and it's been fun to see. So and check out the special project that Everett's working on. All the links will be below. They'll be down there. You can check them out, and we will go from there. And we will talk to you soon. Thank you, Everett.
Hey, Bruce, I just want to say thank you for bringing me on. I also want to say thank you for all that you pour in to those people who follow you. You are a giver first and foremost.
Thank you.
And I noticed that from the first moment I saw you. For those people who are watching, the first time I met Bruce, I was walking through a hotel room at a conference, and I saw him standing outside the elevator having a conversation with a young gal from Australia, I believe. And he was talking her through the whole process right there next to the elevator as to how to get her book published and do a bestseller launch with it. And if I remember correctly, Bruce, you stayed up all night working with her on that project so that it actually got published. Didn't you publish it that night?
Got published that night and was turned into a bestseller the next day.
Yeah.
And I don't recommend doing it always that way, but sometimes conferences are funny places. And just like Everett talked about the woman that his client who took books to a conferences can be special places where people are really focused and just ready to go. And we had a lot of fun. It was quite an experience to pull that off. So
thank you again, Bruce, for being such a giver.
All right. Thank you very much. We will talk to you soon, and we'll see you all in the next video. This is Bruce Jones from How to Publish Your Book Facebook group. And remember, all the links and things are down below.